Hey there, and welcome back to the Spring Challenge podcast. I'm so glad you're here for week 3. If you've made it this far, you've already got ahead of most people. And that's something to celebrate because research tells us that more than 80% of people quit their diet within the first 30 days. Week 3 is often called the danger zone for weight loss plans. And today we are going to explore why that is, and more importantly, how you can break the cycle and keep moving forward. Let's start by looking at some key findings from research on diet failure timing. Studies show that roughly 40% of people quit their diets in the very first week. By the time we hit week 3 or 4, more than 80% have given up, and only about 20% make it to the 3-month mark, and even fewer maintain their progress beyond that. The average diet lasts about 6 weeks for men and even less for women. So week 3 lands right in the middle of that critical window where most people fall off. And it's a real challenge, but understanding why it happens can help us change that story. So why do many people quit at week 3? And there are a few common reasons that I know I can relate to, and I'm sure you can too. The first is lifestyle mismatch. So many diets are too strict, or they just don't fit with the real world. They might work in theory or for a very short period of time, but they just clash with your daily life, which make them really, really hard to sustain. A really good example of this is when I have clients on meal replacement plans, and a lot of them will be determined to just stick to those products. But the reality is, for a lot of people, it ends up making them feel restricted, or it doesn't work with family life. And sometimes we can push through on sheer determination alone for a while, but then the cracks start to show. Another thing that can really impact people is the initial weight loss plateau. So the early weight loss that you see is often water weight, especially if you've cut carbs down a lot. And that rapid loss will slow down around week 3. And it can feel like a failure, even though it is totally normal. And it can be something that really pushes us to the brink, especially if we've been just hanging on by determination alone. And it's the reason a lot of people do end up stopping, because they think it's not working. Then we have hunger and cravings. So intense restriction in the first couple of weeks often leads to an increase in hunger and cravings, which can feel really overwhelming and hard to manage, and why it is so important that we are tracking your hunger and fullness with your meals, so that if we need to, we can pivot and change and put extra things in place. And then the one that I see all the time, you hear me talking about all the time, and that is having that all or nothing mentality. A single slip up, like missing a day or having an off-plan meal, can lead to giving up completely. Now, we know that that is a major barrier to people's long-term weight loss success and behavior change. And it's something I've got a lot of podcast episodes on and masterclasses. So if that is something you know you struggle with, you need to reach out, because I have got the tools and strategies for you. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone. And the good news is that we can do things differently. Instead of extremes or temporary change, the key is to focus on the sustainable lifestyle adjustments. After all, 95% of dieters eventually regain the weight they've lost. And that's a clear sign that the quick fixes don't work long term. It's what I've always said. When I lost my weight back in 2020, it wasn't because I've stumbled upon this golden elixir of weight loss. It was that I changed how I did it, meaning a plan that I had done 6 times before, I was suddenly able to have long-term success with. So how do we break the week 3 fall-off pattern? Well, it starts with shifting your mindset and being honest with yourself about what's really happening. So first, we take a look at what's actually working for you versus what you think should be working. So for example, if you're using meal replacements, maybe they bring you ease. They reduce the decisions that you have to make around food and the decision fatigue that can come with that. But maybe they're starting to feel repetitive or boring. Or maybe you're calorie counting and it's giving you that flexibility you want, but the extra tracking is stressful and tedious. So we need to identify what positives does what I'm doing at the moment bring to me, and honestly be able to reflect and say, what are the challenges? And next, we're going to identify what parts of the plan are truly challenging you. So we've seen what's causing us a bit of a niggle, but why is that? Is it because it's causing you more hunger? Or is it that it's restricting you being able to take part in social situations? Is it a time management issue? We need to name those challenges without shame, because by naming them, we can address them. Because if we just have them wrapped in shame, shame is one of the biggest defenses against lasting change. When we feel ashamed, we can't reflect honestly. We close off to curiosity and grace for ourselves. And that is when self-sabotage is going to sneak in and get you. So instead, when you approach your challenges with a curious heart, you open the door to understanding and support. Speaking of support, ask yourself, what are you reaching out for help with? And what do you actually need support with? Sometimes we ask for accountability when what we really need is compassion, or vice versa. Getting clear on this really helps get the right kind of support at the right time. And it helps me be able to tailor what support you need based on the challenges you're facing. So here's a little challenge for you this week. I want you to reflect on your last couple of weeks, check-ins, reviews, go on the app, look at your stats and your insights. Are there any patterns that you've noticed? Is there any feedback that you've really pushed back against? What is your current meal plan giving you, and what parts of it are really challenging? I want you to write all of that down and be really honest, but kind towards yourself, because this is about learning. It's not about judging. And then you can send them to me. You can put them in your check-in and we can review them together. There is no need to feel any kind of shame or embarrassment or anything like that. And as I've said repeatedly, we need to be able to say these things to rid ourselves of the shame that is keeping us stuck. Remember, week 3 is tough for everyone, but it's also an incredible opportunity to build resilience and deepen your understanding of what truly supports you. When you break through that shame and start reflecting with curiosity, you create a foundation for lasting change. And this is exactly what I want to do. I want you to focus on building sustainable habits by combining that mindset work, the behavior change, and incorporating that practical support. So whether you're tracking your moods and habits through the app, getting your feedback on your weekly check-ins, tapping into the WhatsApp support, or having those calls with me every week, I am here to help you navigate those tricky weeks and keep you moving forward. So if you're feeling the week 3 slump, you are not alone, but you don't have to do it on your own. Reach out, reflect, and remember why you started. I'm so proud of you for still being here and showing up for yourself this week. I am cheering you on every single step of the way, and I can't wait to keep supporting you through this journey. Until next week, take a deep breath, be gentle with yourself, and keep going. You've got this, and I've got you every single step of the way.